we do not have the basic infrastructures on ground. I will tell you that when the Super Eagles come, some of the players, when they come and you ask them to train, the national stadium pitch is nothing to write home about, if not for the fact that somebody like Dangote had taken it over. The boys will be asked to go and train on synthetic. My name is Austel Elumelu. I'm from Onicholona in Delta State. I'm a lawyer by profession, an ex-footballer, a musicologist. Was once the team manager of the national under-17 team. I eventually won the World Cup in South Korea. I was also the team manager of the Nigerian Olympic team that won the silver medal in China. We played finals against Argentina. I was a member of the technical committee of the Nigerian Football Federation for 8 years. I was also a member of the electoral committee of the Nigerian Football Federation for 6 years. Also a member of the Special Technical Committee, National Sports Commission. I was president of the Nigerian All-Stars. Was first vice president of the FCT Football Association, president of Edo Delta, president of various choir musical director, different on different occasions, different schools and different states. That is just a father of 5, and above all, I have a lovely wife called Dr. Elumelu. Wonderful wife. Well, I've had opportunities in different fora where I was invited to discuss extensively on this matter, especially sometime like about 8-9 years ago at the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies in Lagos. You find out that we have not followed the sports policies of the country. If you go through the National Sports Commission sports policies, you find out that those who drafted the policies did that with the intention to see how sports can be developed within the 3 tiers of government: the local government, the state government, and the federal government. And they thought about each tier of government being able to expend 5% of their total budget towards sports development, not just when I talk of sports development, talking of also the development of the human power there and also the facilities. You find out that if we are able to implement the principles, not just the principles, the objectives of the Nigerian national sports policy, you will see that Nigeria will go beyond, what we are now seeing, because you find out that it is mostly the individuals who are making more effort without the contribution of the government, that those that have excelled in recent time, most especially when they are based overseas, which shows that we lack the basic infrastructures for development of the human capital in terms of sports. So you find out that I've had the opportunity of traveling around the world, and everywhere overseas, the kind of sports facilities you see situated in different localities. Very, very amazing. And that is why even at the tertiary, at the tertiary stage, and you find out that those countries where you have those facilities, that the people have done very, very well in terms of human development in sports. Well, is a combination of so many factors that you've mentioned. One, the international bodies have their calendars, and we know the dates for every Olympic cycle. And most countries, by the time, at the end of every Olympic session, they start immediately. So they have almost 4 years to prepare for the Olympics, and they start immediately. But in Nigeria, our budget do not recognize that there are certain things, especially sports, that ought not to be, taken into cognizance when they are doing their normal particular budget for a particular year. What they need to do is to excise sports and make sure that for sports, every budget must be out of the national budget. For instance, at times when we are preparing for the Nations Cup, it takes a lot to prepare for Nations Cup. To organize grade A international matches, organize take advantage of FIFA windows, different FIFA windows to be able to still organize friendlies, and also to do programs that will aid sports development, football development. Every February, it's normally done every February. But when do we do our budgets? At times, budgets are signed in April, at times in May. So if you don't sign the budget, there is no money for preparation. Then secondly, we do not have the basic infrastructures on ground. I will tell you that when the Super Eagles come, some of the players, when they come and you ask them to train, the national stadium pitch is nothing to write home about, if not for the fact that somebody like Dangote had taken it over. The boys will be asked to go and train on synthetic. And I must tell you, the synthetic pitch is such that when you're a professional player, you will not want to play because of your knees. The underlay of the synthetic is purely concrete. So when you step on synthetic, it does not cushion the pressure from your ankle to your knee. You have direct pressure. And that is why most of our international players refuse to play on those pitches. So you find out, and another thing is that sports is highly underfunded. You talk about the Super Eagles, the NFF will bring a budget of 1-something billion. They will say it's too much. By the time you convert 1-something billion to dollars or pounds, it is not even enough to train an athlete outside the country. So what are we talking about? It is garbage in, garbage out. You don't expect when you frolic with Delilah and you expect to be in the bosom of Abraham. It's not possible. It's what you give is what you get. So sports are seriously underfunded. The facilities are not there. And our athletes are not encouraged by way of giving them incentives. I remember back days when Nigeria was doing well, when in every international meet, you will know that at least we'll come back with some medals. When Ogbemudia created a Fuse camp in O1 division in Old Bende State, Ogbemudia was responsible for all the trainings abroad. Bende State was responsible for all the trainings abroad of every athlete. And each athlete was given $5,000. Pocket money, not they paid for everything. At times, when they want to go for meets, the Bende State government will send them money, send them coaches. And also, you have to retrain the trainer. There's need to train coaches, to train our coaches abroad so that they will be in tune with the international best practices in terms of coaching. So you find out that we have so many things militating against the success and development of sports in Nigeria. So that is why when these boys go outside the country and take up citizenship of those countries, they find out that everything is at their beck and call, whatever, and that's including coaches. So why wouldn't they do well? As a child, I've always been a pianist and a guitarist, when I was in secondary school. And I went to a Catholic school, Christ the King College, CKC Onitsha. And I represented in fact, right from primary school, I represented my school in football from primary, secondary, and university. And also, they were running pari passu. That means I was also playing music. I was already an organist. In fact, I started playing organ in church in 75, 76. No, like 76 to be precise. And when I got to the university, I had a musical band. And, I was doing music alongside football. So when I got to the university, because I captained the Anambra State Academicals, and my father called me and told me that I was going to study law and that I should avoid anything that would distract me. But for me, something that is inborn, I tried not to play football. But I remember one day I went to watch the Uniben football team, and when a ball was kicked outside the field, so the way I controlled the ball, the coach called me out. And meanwhile, in Uniben team, every player was playing for a premiership side. All the players, they were all playing for, we call them Division 1, what they call premiership now. So the man called me and said that the way I trapped the ball, that for me, all indication that I must be a footballer, that I should come and join, because they were doing trials. And luckily, my uncle, who was then in charge of sports in the university, said I should come and give it a trial. I came. It was only one kick of the ball that took me into the team. Because the next day was the last day. And they said, okay, I should come and play in the attack. The first ball they passed to me, I saw the goalkeeper out, that goalkeeper then was George Ebojo. George Ebojo was the Bender Insurance goalkeeper. And immediately they gave me the ball. The first kick was a goal. And Coach Izile then was the coach of New Nigerian Bank. He was the coach of University of Benin. And when the man said, signal the end of the game, I left, having kicked the ball once. But I was surprised when they came looking for me that the coach wanted to see me. And when my name was mentioned, the others were very, very unhappy that a man that just kicked ball once, he said, you people have been playing for the past 1 month. You people couldn't score. That this man, a touch on the ball was a goal. It shows that there's something he has that you people don't have. That was how I joined the team. And during that time, when I was in Uniben, we had I had a band, a musical band called Sonic's Band. And I was a bass guitarist. And we had the opportunity of playing in different campuses. We used to travel to different campuses. We also used to go and play session. There was this time that virtually all the known artists in Nigeria, they were to play at the Ogbe Stadium. And there was a very terrible accident that happened that made the session men so they couldn't play. And they came to call us. Ras Kimono, Majek Fashek, Gerard Opino, Dizike Falola, Onyeka was not there. Stella Monye, and a host of other musicians. So we were called in to be session men for them because of those that had accidents. So I'd always played music alongside football. Yeah, when you say for the country, it's difficult, but it will add to the GDP, because you find out that most of the times, in fact, before now, there was no Nigerian university that offered, any course on sports development. Although we had a lot of universities with physical and health education department, but their curriculum very, very limited. And you find out that most Nigerians went overseas to go and read about sports development. And I must say it is not something that is well known to the curriculum of Nigerian universities. Just very few universities that have started offering them. But I must tell you, sports is one of the biggest businesses in the world. Apart when you remove IT, remove oil, I think the next is sports. Because how do you quantify it when a Nigerian player earns like £200,000 every week? You can imagine, and most of the times, they bring back this money home, and invest in Nigeria, thereby swelling our GDP. But the problem is that we still have very limited number of universities that offer these courses. All over the world, the developed world, people come and learn about sports development. But another thing, you see, sports development is also linked to, where you have facilities on ground. It's just like telling somebody about Apple. you know, and without showing the person an apple. You know, it's just like in the realm of conjecture that the person will understand what an apple is. But when you are showing somebody this is an apple, the person gets to being able to identify an apple when he or she sees it. So that we are now offering it in Nigerian universities does not mean it is an Uhuru, where we do not have the basic infrastructures, like I keep on saying, on ground. So it is only when we have these infrastructures on ground and with the various universities offering those courses that we can make progress. Football. I would say football. Yeah, football, because football is something that that gave me fame when I was a small boy. When I had the opportunity of playing against the likes of Christian Chukwu and Okala at the age of 15. It brought fame to me. I remember those days. I used to walk on the streets of Onitsha. In fact, there's no way I could walk on the streets of Onitsha without being recognized. All those people with their machine, they will stop. They will stop and they will be hailing me. People, students, you understand what I'm saying? So we had fun because, all over in Anambra State, we were known for our soccer exploits. So I would say football number one. But you see, the best thing, I must tell you, the best thing in life is humility. Very, very key. If you are not humble, there is no way you can achieve anything in life. Even when you think you have achieved it, when people see you, they might respect you for what you have achieved, but the regards will not be there. But I believe that in all, there's nothing like humility and your personal relationship with your fellow human beings. Especially, they say charity begins at home. Your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your children, and your relationship with your domestic staff. Well, I keep telling people that there is time for everything if you want. Normally I start my day very, very early. I am an early bird. I try to sleep early, and before 4 o'clock I've already woken up, and I try as much as possible to go for my morning mass every day. And during that morning mass I must play the organ. It's not something, for me it is not something that I've developed as a routine, but it comes as a spiritual exercise. I don't do it as a routine. I don't see it as something that I've gotten used to. I see it as something that I'm leaving the house to go and worship God. And my preparation for it does not start when I wake up. It starts before I sleep. But I know that tomorrow morning I will have to go and worship God. Then secondly, if you want to succeed in life, you must have a succession plan. I don't want a situation where if I'm not around, nobody will be around to do what I'm doing. It becomes very, very selfish. And I believe that whatever gift you have, God has given it to you, not for yourself. You must use that gift to uplift humanity, which starts from within your family, where you live. And the church, when you say the church, it's not just a personal thing. For instance, now, when Christ was teaching the basics about prayer, he said, if you want to pray, start like this. Our Father. Christ didn't say, my Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your kingdom come. In fact, he subsequently went to say, give us, not give me. And forgive us our trespasses, not forgive me my trespasses. You understand what I'm saying? It is not personal. If your church is just personal, which means there is no basis for you to go to church. It's between you and your fellow human being. Lead us not into temptation and deliver us. You can see everything is not in the singular but in the plural. So when I have had time to even spend my money to be able to teach others the things I know, because I will not always be there. One day I will pass on, and the people behind should be able to either do what I'm doing or do better than what I've done. So that what you believe in, which is in the service of God, when you are serving God, you are serving humanity. If it is something that is personal, that means you are not serving God. Well, I told you that, first of all, it goes back to humility. For you to be able to live, a normal life with somebody who is not your sister, somebody from a different background, somebody from a different culture, you must be humble. Even when you think you are right, it takes humility to say, I am sorry. You understand? And not only that, when in your relationship with your children, there are times you step on your children's toes. You should be man enough, you should be humble enough to call your children to say, I am sorry. So when you develop that act, you find out that you will never have any problem with your family. And I've tried as much as possible, no matter my engagement, whenever my children had something important to do in school, whatever the schedule, I must reschedule it. I must attend their open day, all of them. I must be the one to take them to school, not the driver. And I will make effort to be the one to go and pick them from school. Because, these are the things that will make you bond with your children. My children they are all my friends. They are not scared of me because they can look me in the face and tell me, Daddy, we don't like what you are doing. I will say, explain to me. And there is nothing they do that I am not in the know. And that is why their areas of strength, I have been able to identify them and try to strengthen their areas of strength so that, in life, when they are moving on with their lives, they will be able to excel. I don't force my children to do anything. The only thing is that I identify what they want, their interests. And once that their interests, when I know that they are good in what they are interested in, the only thing I do is to encourage them or offer them an alternative. If I'm not able to win them over, I will encourage them in what, where their interest lies. In fact, I must tell you that every day I strive to receive Holy Communion. And when you receive Holy Communion, the whole of that day, you believe that you already received Christ in you. So it helps you to withstand all manners of temptation and direct you aright. For me, I try to teach my children every day I must receive Holy Communion. Not as a matter of routine, but receiving the Holy Communion with all conviction and faith that I am doing the right thing and that God has been able to place me in the state of grace to receiving it. So that is just key. When you look up to God, you'll try. For me, once I come back in the afternoon, times 4 or 5, I just sit. Either I play my guitar in my room or play the piano here. I avoid going out. But unless I have very cogent reasons for going out, because if you want to belong to a larger society, there are certain people you have to visit. There are certain functions you just have to attend. Like 2-3 days ago, my friend had his birthday, and the chairman of Chelsea Group, and I had to go. And during the course of it, I was also asked to come out and sing some Christian songs, play and sing. So that is just it. You must belong, because Christ, let me tell you one thing, that where did Christ turn water to wine? It was at a function. The function was not in his father's compound, but in his earthly father's compound. He went to where they were having marriage. So even Christ himself attended functions. It's not, you don't say you want to be holy and lock yourself inside. If you want to maintain holiness, it has to be outside, in your relationship with your fellow human being. So we as human beings, we try as much as possible to avoid occasions of sins, while we still need to relate with our fellow human beings.